Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hey, it's Jackie Cation. Welcome to the Dork Forest. You know the websites, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com, TheDorkForest.com, FamilyPetAncestry.com. You're probably already there. Let's do the credits. Mike Rickberg composed and sang that song with his wife, Sarah, that you just heard. He's going to sing his version of the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Patrick Brady is going to fix this audio, and Vilmos works on JackieCation.com, the website. There are many ways to support the show. The Amazon link is one. You can use an Amazon link from JackieCation.com or DorkForest.com to go to Amazon. You order like normal, and it supports the show. There is a straight-up donation button, PayPal or Venmo, to this email address that is mine, Jackie at JackieCation.com, where you can just donate to the show if you like the show a lot. I think PayPal has figured out a way to do a monthly. If you want to go monthly, please do. Other ways to support the show if you want to is you can buy merch. There's Dork Forest t-shirts, and all the shirts are union made here in America, so they run a little big. Union Bayside, so if you want to look up their size chart. And then the other merch is my stand-up merch. On JackieCation.com, you can watch me do stand-up, you can look at my schedule, and the stand-up merch, a couple of different t-shirts, couple of different enamel pins, and all of my CDs and my DVD. If you want to live stream my DVD, it's over there at comedyfilmnerds.com. They have a live streaming capability, or you can get a hard copy of the DVD on my website. Oh, there are premium episodes at Bandcamp. TheDorkForest.bandcamp.com has probably 10 episodes that were done live. They cost me a couple of bucks to make, so I charge you a couple of bucks. If you've run out of regular episodes, go over to TheDorkForest.bandcamp.com and get some more. Other than that, I say this, let's get into the show. Hey, it's Jackie Cation. I've been in my living room with Michelle Biloon. Welcome back to the program.
Yeah.
Lo, these 27 years later.
Yes, it's been a long time.
You were in the ground floor, Michelle Biloon.
I must have been in the first 20. Right?
You were in the first 20 years.
And was it maybe even a phone call version of this podcast?
Right. So it's in the ones that are deep. I mean, they're the only, you can get them on Bandcamp. Uh-huh. I think I picked the 17 episodes of the 200 and odd episodes that are call in. Mm-hmm. I think I ripped those. I tried to clean up the audio, and then I put them on Bandcamp for free.
Yeah.
As sort of you want to hear what it was like when the audio really sucked?
Yeah. Oh my God. I bet. Yeah.
So you'd have to go to the dorkforest.bandcamp.com.
You don't need to. I can't. And I have a Google alert on myself, and it hasn't come up, so I assume I wasn't picked.
You might not have been picked.
I don't think so.
It's some of them. I'm not gonna lie to you. Got bored. 218 episodes of the not pre-recorded.
I wasn't as charming then, so I probably didn't try very hard.
Well, there's that. What do you think of these new headsets? Allow us to just lounge back like
you have no idea how much. If I may be like half in a nap by the end.
Right.
No offense to you. I'm just comfy.
No. And once we get talking about your dorkdom, you'll lean in. You'll lean in, Michelle Biloon.
Yeah.
Michelle Biloon, by the way, stand-up comic, currently living in the Philadelphia area, correct?
No, not Philadelphia, Philly proper.
Proper. That's it. Cheesesteak Central, right there.
Yes. People say,
I have a question
go
about
ahead. Sorry.
cheesecakes.
We're going to talk over each other this whole time. It'll be fun. Two Wisconsin gals trying to fight for mics.
But let me tell you that it's at Biloon. It's at A for at.
Yeah.
Anyway, for Twitter and Instagram and all the thing, and then Biloon.com and Biloon.
Yeah. Speaking of ground floor, I got all the Biloon properties on the internet.
You went in.
I went in early.
Went in deep. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, these are new headphones. So it's when we take a sip of something, you may get in on that. But at least it's not a shrimp ring, which me and Matt Knutson ate one time, and I lost like 4 listeners. They were
my God.
This is foul. No one wants to hear that. But okay. So before we talk about your dorkdom,
Matt Knutson. Go ahead.
Sure. Before we talk about your dorkdom, I want to ask you about the Philly cheesesteak, because you're not from Philadelphia. You're from Wisconsin.
I'm from Wisconsin. Yes.
But now you know things.
Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah.
Is it squeezy cheese? What is it?
Okay, I am the worst. I've had like probably under 5 cheesesteaks since I've lived there. I'm not a real big meat eating person. And I've been there 5 years, but also I can't say right now I defend Philly within an inch of my life. But It is. It's Cheese Whiz. And when you order it, it's you say Whiz Wit. That means you're going to get it with. And when I've had it that way.
Philly cheesesteak wit.
Cheesesteak wit. Yeah,
Cheesesteak.
Whiz Wit. You say Whiz Wit.
Okay.
It's backwards. I don't know why, but it's good. I mean, you get it and you have to, they sell them everywhere.
In the mood.
I mean, they're good, but I just don't want a big sandwich of cheese in the middle sandwich of meat it's just too much.
Yeah, I like
But it's
meat,
good, and it's totally different. I have to say, a cheesesteak that you get in Philly is totally different when I get it anywhere else in the country. What kind of drives me crazy? You're like, here's our Philly cheesesteak, and it's like that's a roast beef sandwich. Like, what are you talking about?
It's a beautiful roast beef sandwich, what you're doing right there, and which, by the way, I like better.
Yeah.
But it's only because I was raised on Cheese Whiz, and I fucking hate Cheese Whiz.
On a cracker. I was never, my sister loved that, but yeah, it was never a thing of mine.
To launch a cheese from a can. I've never been a fan. And, it rhymed. So, I just got home off the road, so I'm a little punchy. But so let's talk about the thing. I did not know that you were into crossword puzzles.
I am. I'm very into New York Times crossword puzzles.
Okay. Just New York Times? Do you get those books?
I mostly just do the crossword every day. I actually have a book right now because I have to, I want to do some because right now I just do them on the app. And I want to do them written out because that's the way you do them because I'm going to the tournament in a couple weeks. But so I do a lot of things. I don't like it when other people are like, I'm smarter than you. Can I do this? I was never into politics until the Affordable Care Act was like in 2008 when they started talking about health stuff, and there was all these fucking, anti-Obama trolls that just sort of wanted to sort of monopolize conversations and act like they knew more than you did. And I realized how easy it was to know just as much and more as they do. And it still is. And so I actually used to and this is a tangent, but I used to say, okay, well, he just said this. Let me read this actual article he's quoting. Oh, that's not what that article says. Let me read the bill I got so deep into it. And now that's kind of how I sort of keep up on that. And the New York Times crossword puzzles is the same thing. Like, why do people think they're so smart and they can do it? And so I started to do it, and you get better at it. I am a good person at this type of thing, and I am a sort of, my base level is intelligent. So I mean, they're very they basically,
I love it.
They basically run like this. The easiest crossword puzzle of the week is Monday. Okay. And I used to just keep them on a paper, but in the app, they actually keep stats. And,
so that's kind of fun.
And so for example, if the Monday, my best Monday time is, 3 minutes, 41 seconds.
And how many, wait, so
I've solved.
You're doing mostly the New York Times ones, right? Only at this time. Did you ever do them as a kid?
Not no, I never cared about it.
Not like this.
No, because USA Today, all those other ones, they're just easy. I mean, they're just nothing.
Right. Well, I remember the Milwaukee Journal had them.
Yeah.
And I would do them. And my brother Scott had a cheat book, which had things that you could look up that there were the common answers for different things.
Yeah.
And so there was probably a year and a half when I did them in high school or junior high. Now, how big are the New York Times ones? How many questions are there?
Oh, it depends. They get the Sunday.
The Monday's small?
Smallest, yeah.
Okay.
The Sunday is the biggest one. Saturday is the hardest.
Oh, interesting.
Saturday is a very hard puzzle. And so right now I try to keep a streak going. Right now I've done 24 in a row correctly, which means I don't you don't have to look up an answer or anything.
How can they tell if you've looked up?
You could lie, but you can also look up an answer through the app, and you also have to get it done within the day the puzzle's out.
Okay.
And let me just say, I never did crossword puzzles when I was younger, but I loved word search puzzles.
Okay. The circle things?
Yeah.
Where you find the words?
Yeah. I mean, so I like that. But yeah, so it's, in my best, so it gets harder. Monday through Tuesday, Wednesday are the sort of okay, they get harder as the days go on, but they're all doable. Thursday it starts to get harder, but Friday it gets hard.
Yeah.
And Saturday is the hardest. You have to open up and all the cheat. I know there wasn't the internet for those who are not following that when we didn't have the internet
right
when we were younger, but there is, as you do them, you do get better at the crosswords because you're like, oh, they're looking for a Lou when they're talking about baseball players. They're talking about the things they use over and over.
Right.
Brian Eno's in there all the time. Like, and so you just sort of.
But then do you have to know who those people are? Or
I do
you
know
just
who
kind of
they are.
You kind of memorize.
kind of know because you know that's what they're like. Who are the baseball brothers with the famous whatever? Like, it's just different. And a lot of times it's what's harder about the puzzle is the clues. So they might use Eno in a Saturday puzzle, but the clue is harder. But still, if you know that a 3-letter, it's about music, it's going to be Brian Eno.
Okay.
But
who's Brian Eno?
He does like he does like ambient music. Like
Okay. Okay.
And but he's like that.
So it. Just to remind me, it's been a while. Though we have them. It's they're in the back of the week. Andy will always do them.
Yeah.
The crossword puzzles. They have a down and a cross.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So on a Monday, it might be 10 and 10 or 5 and 5.
No, it's not like a baby puzzle.
Okay,
like,
that's what
it's
I
not
was
like. So here's like an example. Like you can look. So this was this Monday's. So like that's what the Monday looked like. And so it's just an easier version of the puzzle. Like Monday's so fast, Monday's so easy that I do it without even checking my spelling because I want to see how fast I can do it again. And then I just go back and check it.
Okay.
But Monday's so easy. Monday's so easy.
How easy is it?
How it's so easy, but that it's all about speed. But I do them all for speed.
Right. And do you do so when you're doing them for
Monday,
speed? You got to
like Monday. I just go really.
It's
fast.
It's one sit down and you just do it.
I have to. Yeah.
Right.
Monday, it's like I know it's going to take like under 5 minutes. I always am trying to hit my fastest, and and I just sit and I do it at the end of the day. I usually do like they come out. On the East Coast, here they get them a few hours earlier, but they come out at 10 p.m. the night before. On the weekends, a Sunday comes out at 6 p.m. on Saturday, and I just and the Sunday's nice because it's a fun puzzle, and
it's hard, but it's not the hardest.
It's long.
Okay,
it's long. It's in that. So that one, my best time is still like under 20 minutes, but usually my average is probably like around 25, 30.
Okay.
And
so you'll sit for a half an hour and work on a crossword puzzle.
If I have to stop, I just exit out of the app and I'll just come back to it because I don't want it to. It'll stop the time.
Okay, so if you exit out because I was like,
but Monday I never do that because every second counts.
Every second counts, and you can do it.
Yeah,
and it isn't that hard.
If there's anybody that's a fan of doing this, they're like eating this up because it's like such a psycho thing. And just keep on. I'm very good at crossword puzzles for a regular person, but I'm going to go to this tournament in a couple weeks. The Will Shortz, like it's the one
What's
that
it called?
They did the documentary about. It's called the American Crossword Puzzle Tournament. It's at a hotel in Connecticut.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go to that.
Will it be a whole weekend kind of convention?
It is. It's like a Friday through Sunday. But the people that are good there are like I am like lower middle good compared to these people. The people that are good are like
exceptional,
untouchable. Like they're so good. And one of the person I went 2 years ago, I didn't go last year, but he actually is a comedy fan and knew me from like Comedy Bang Bang podcast.
Oh, that's
kind
awesome.
of fun. I was like, oh, good. And he ended up winning.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. It's there's a previous episode of the Dork Forest that was on the JoCo cruise, the Jonathan Colton cruise. Because I did many episodes because it was essentially 1,700 people who could all be on this show.
Oh,
anyway, in various degrees. So as I was talking to him, his dorkdom was escape rooms. He loves escape rooms. Well, in the course of talking to him, he submits and has been accepted making crossword puzzles. He makes crossword puzzles for New York Times.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And are those people at the conventions too?
Some of them are, yeah. And I would, honestly, I keep meaning to actually sit down and try and do it. No, there's lots of people. When I did it, I was sitting, there's lots of, the age is skewed very old.
Okay.
And they actually say like, who's 90, But I was sitting next, and actually I do it with my father-in-law. He comes from Boston and is going to be there.
Oh, that's kind of fun. So that'll be a nice weekend, kind of a family thing.
Exactly. And he loves the ability to trap me for a weekend and ask me all sorts of questions. But I was sitting next to a sweet old lady from New York, who her and her group of crossword friends that meet every week hired like some crossword puzzle constructor, and they create puzzles together, of which some have been accepted into the New York Times, and it's just really sweet. It's exciting. I'm not part of that sort of insular part of it, but it is a very sweet thing that goes on. Yeah.
Right. That's fun for them, because when you go to any sort of convention like that, there's people at your level, people who are just starting, people that have been dragged to this event.
Yeah.
And so when you go, what are they panels? Do you get to is it like bingo where you all sit in a room and try to do like out time each other?
Yeah, you all
like
sit
time
in a room.
chess.
Yeah, you all sit in a room. Will Shortz is there. Do you know who Will Shortz is?
I don't.
Oh, so he's like the head, like he's like a hero, like that. He's the head of all the New York Times crossword puzzle. He used to be the editor of Games Magazine. He's just an amazing guy. He's so super sweet and nice. And,
but he works at New York Times now.
Well, he runs the crossword. He's the editor of the games, of the New York Times games section.
And he runs this convention, and it's named after him, kind of like the Kamikaze.
It's
Stanley.
not named after. It's named American Crossword Puzzle Tournament. He just runs it.
Okay.
And but he also he does stuff with NPR. Like he does. There's like something he does where he does Will Shortz's like puzzle of the week or something like.
Okay.
But he's there. But yeah, it's people have been doing this going for decades, and they've been coming. I'm like an interloper. And so you get a lot of like sort of like, hey, how you doing?
It's like you've just moved to Maine.
Exactly. So I would say I would liken it to. It's not like a comedy festival that you would be like, oh, but it is kind of like, I think for a lot of people there, it's like, we think of it as comedy camp. Some of them that are so fun, like Bridgetown was, and some others are. That's kind of what I think it's like. But and there's fun games too, and there is. I think I went to like a talk from this guy who this crazy AI stuff that was super interesting. I can't remember, but all the crossword puzzle stuff, it's like you're taking a college exam. You're sitting. You have the books in front of. Oh yeah, it is dead serious, and you're all in different categories, but you're all doing the same puzzles.
Okay,
and you're ranked after so you can look up your ranks online.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, and I was like my father-in-law and I were just a few spaces apart.
Yeah.
Like in ranking, and we were both, I think, in like the 400s or 500s. Like we were not.
How many people go to the convention?
Like that participate? I think like 6 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not too big, but plenty of people.
And there's not a lot of people that go. Like they're not people that are participating in the convention that have been dragged. Like most of the people there are, if they're
enthusiasts.
They're enthusiasts, and there are people, of course, who clearly aren't as good as me, but maybe they're 95. You know what I mean? But mostly it's people that are, because at the end, and actually Ophira Eisenberg is a commentator for the finals.
Okay.
I'm going to see her when I go there. We talked about it already. But at the end, the people that do the finals, and they do it for each of the categories of rookie and blah, 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 and how, they do it on stage in front of people, so you get to watch them do it they do it on a big board that everyone can see. They don't sit there and do it, so you actually get to watch.
Oh wait, so it's projected from their page to
not projected.
To the
they're standing. They're like they're a college professor.
They're in front of a whiteboard.
They're in front of. Well, I mean, it's a crossword puzzle. Where it's like
and then they have to fill it out with like a dry erase marker or whatever, right? Oh my God, that's kind of fascinating.
And they're all on stage together.
And there's how many of them are in the finals? 3 to 5?
I want to say
like
something like that.
Yeah. So like, let's say it's 3. 3 people are in front of giant sort of crossword puzzle dry erase boards with their pens.
Yeah.
And someone says go.
Yeah.
And then they read the thing, they fill the thing in.
Yeah.
Now, here is a question that do you do it like I do it, where you do the easy ones first?
No, like for speed, especially the way that I do it, and I like that's why I said I do it on this app. And what I remember from when I did it last time, it was a lot different for me to write it out. And so I actually do have a book of New York Times crossword puzzles, and I want to just do that for like when I get back into Philly, to do that for a couple weeks, just to kind of get used to it. But the way I do it, especially on Monday, I just go straight through. Across. And if I don't know it, I just go to the next one. I come back around. But that's the way I used to exclusively do it, and I'm not sure if this is a bad or a good thing. Sometimes now I get distracted where I'll do it and then I'll do a cross for like 3 lines and then I'll switch, because you can switch on the app really easy, and do the down and then go back to the across because it helps fill it in.
Yeah.
But I don't take the time to look through the clues and see, I know that. I'm in there filling it out and just going past it.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because that's how I've always done it. When and of course, very casual.
Yeah.
So it's I do a cross, and then I look to what the corresponding downs are so I could fill in that square for a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
But if I just kept going and doing all of the acrosses that I could do initially, it might be faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I do the down one sometimes, like if I'm like, oh, if this letter is this or it's that, then that would tell me what this one is.
Right.
I'm not totally sure.
Oh, right. Oh, right. If you're questioning at all, because it'll fill something in. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. But the standard size, right? Like, how many questions are there on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? The ones that aren't super long.
I don't know. I want to say this. Saturdays, it's not about how many more questions there are. Sunday has a ton, because Saturday is the reason why it's so hard, and I'm going to show you one.
Yeah.
Is because there aren't that many, and so Saturdays routinely look like this.
Okay.
Where they're a lot harder because they're just words
longer
on top
words.
of words on top of words, you know.
And not a lot of blocks.
Yeah, and you look on a Monday, and Monday's easy. Oh, sorry, I was looking at a mini puzzle. But Monday is easy because Monday is just like, there is smaller words and lots of easy ones, so you can, you can really keep doing it.
Right, right. The filling out of the blocks. There was a woman who was on the Dork Forest many years ago, and excuse me, she did not only crossword puzzles. Have you seen cross math puzzles?
Mm-mm. Oh, I know that.
You know that they exist.
Yeah. No, I used to like doing them in Games Magazine. I used to love doing crossword.
Right, and they're
called
essentially
something
math.
else.
Yeah, they're essentially numbers.
Yeah.
That you have to do to fill out.
No, I like that a lot.
You did not. You did.
I did like that a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because there are puzzle magazines that have all the different kinds of puzzles where you circle things and.
I used to love game. I guess I didn't touch on this, but I used to love Games Magazine. Now it's was bought out by a different magazine company, and it's not quite as I've never even heard of Games Magazine. It makes sense. Yeah, Will Shortz was the editor of Games Magazine, and,
right?
But no, it was just filled with all sorts of logic problems and all sorts of stuff like that, and it was just really fun. But
whoever's editing it now, the games have changed, or the way that they deal with the games have changed?
It's just not quite as much of. It's more of like a rag than a sort of like a real like professional enthusiast, kind of a thing. It's just a lower quality.
Okay,
it's
the quality of the games aren't as good.
Everything, yeah. It's just it's like playing a cheaper video game. You know what I mean? It's just sort of like by a podunk company or something. Okay.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I liked it better when
it wasn't phoned in.
Yeah.
So
it's just sort of a cheaper magazine,
Oh, okay.
More like, it's done by the same. It's like Penny something. I don't know.
Same publishers and
there's a publisher that also produced a games type a puzzle magazine, and I think they're actually the ones that bought out games.
Okay.
This is just like in the last 10 years. I actually got mad at them because I was subscribing. I can't remember when this was, probably 7 years ago, and I was subscribing to Games. I decided to start subscribing to Games, and I think I didn't know that they had switched publishers, or I did, and I just thought I'd do it anyhow. But I was reading this one, and one of their clues was really dated.
Yeah.
And it made me really mad that it was dated, and it was clear that in the other clues, they had tried to take an old puzzle and just kind of change the clues around to make it seem like it was current. And I complained about it. I made him mad.
Right. This is interesting because...
But that New York Times never does that. I mean, they're that's not, and I'm sure USA Today and all them never do it either.
Right. So the reusing of old puzzles is, if you're going to do that, you have to come up with brand new... these are not the same sort of hints from 1987.
Yeah.
they've updated it for current pop culture. Is that what it is?
I don't. No. I mean, I don't know if they did. It was just a particular puzzle and a particular clue.
No.
Yeah.
But in general,
I don't know.
Are the clues that they give you
in New York Times? Are we talking about now? Oh, yeah. Because
are they current?
Yeah. They're current, and sometimes they're so current I cannot believe that my father-in-law can get. But honestly, I know stuff that I should have no right to know either. So
right, that just came out of the blue. That you're like, oh, and then have you ever gotten like the clue and then filled it out using other ways, and then go, well, who the hell is that? And then Googled it.
I never Google it. No, that's cheating.
No, afterwards. Just like
honestly, I never do. A lot of times,
it's Netanyahu, and you're like, who is that? And then you're like, that's a bad example, but I mean,
no, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I don't think I've ever really followed up because I think, I know they're just words in a grid, but I think that I've retained a lot of I've retained a lot of this sort of information. And this sounds,
from the puzzles.
No, not from the puzzles. From my life, and I use that for puzzles. And there's another thing about New York Times crossword puzzles that's good to point out. It doesn't usually happen until later on in the week. Definitely Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
There's a joke to the puzzle. So there's a special ones you have to figure out what sort of thing that they're doing to answer their special clues.
Okay.
And you get better at figuring out what they mean. But to do any of this stuff and to sort of answer clues that you don't think that you would know offhand is like, it's a relaxing thing. Like, this sounds so stupid, and I do not have a crystal in my pocket, but
no.
I open my mind and I just sort of oh, that's what, how do I even know that? Could that possibly, and then it is. And I'm just like, oh, thanks, brain. Like,
yeah.
I literally put stuff down that I don't even know, like, it just is in there. And but my brain connects it before, and I don't have any reason to know.
Right. Because you haven't thought it out. You're just the synapses just put it together, and you're like, and it's Brian Eno.
Yeah, exactly. Brian Eno is a
very specific.
Yeah. And it's like, I would just know that, but just sort of a random
What's a good
historical. I can't even think of it.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, because and the other thing is, and it's been great, and I will touch upon this just briefly. But as you know, I have the multiple sclerosis as I was diagnosed last year, and I actually had to I was supposed to be going to the conference last year or the contest, but I had to cancel. They refunded me.
Oh, that was very nice.
Yeah, it was very nice
because you were ill.
Because I was ill, and but I have been doing this, and you do get cognitive. I have some cognitive impairment right now. I'm very tired, so I'm glad that I'm able to engage. But it is very one of the things that is, and this happens to a lot of people that get cognitive impairment for other things. But you have a problem grabbing words,
right?
And you have a problem thinking of the exact right word for that you want in a situation. Like I might say sandwich when I mean pizza, like that kind of a thing. If I'm tired. Mm-hmm. And so doing crossword puzzles for me, it has also been this last year been a really great way to be like, see, I'm not stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like where I'm still sort of I've got my, I still will beat my fastest times. And so it takes a lot of I still use it for the same relaxation and focus, but I'm still completely able to do it. And I don't feel, in this context, I don't feel impeded by sort of that cognitive
And the sense
slowness.
of satisfaction of doing it has got to be
Exactly. Look, I'm not dumb.
Right.
Like my mom for Christmas, my mom, because moms are just sweet, and she, for Christmas, got me the cognitive slowness in MS is not progressive, even though MS is progressive. Okay. So I'm just going to point that out. My mother got me a book of sort of keep your brain sharp puzzles, this big, thick book. And I got it, and I just rolled my eyes at her. I'm like, did you get me this because you think I'm going to slowly go dumb? That's not what's going to happen.
That's not how it works. But maybe
I
she thought
puzzles.
Right. Maybe she thought you just like puzzles.
Yes. Defend the Midwestern lady.
The nice Midwestern lady who tried to give it a shot.
Yep.
Are you enjoying your water?
I am. I was thirsty. Sorry.
Please do. I finished my coffee. It's very disappointing because I'd like to get up and get more. But it'll all work out.
Yeah.
So...
But no, I'm super excited for the
Do they have fancy guests?
Well, Will Shortz is fancy to
Right? No, that's the
but
fanciest.
he's really sweet. I mean, Ophira Eisenberg. She
Yes.
gets to be fancy. She's a commentator. No, it's
She's on NPR.
it's mostly just I would imagine over the years. I mean, I'm not really a veteran, but I would imagine over the years that there have been people who are just because there's so many like that are like celebrities and known people that are
Right.
very into like I am doing it.
And I
can imagine that.
This is the national one, right?
Yeah,
Or is-
it's the national one, but it's the one that is New York Times is the ultimate crossword puzzle, like
Okay.
the serious crossword puzzle doer, and this is the official. This is what you do. There's other tournaments around.
Yeah.
but it's definitely the official one. And I just now that I live in Philly, I just was like, isn't that thing in Connecticut? And I just because we rarely get to do things that aren't just fun. You know what I mean?
Right.
You go to comedy this, comedy that. I have a husband and a daughter now. Okay, maybe we're gonna go on vacation, and I was just like, where is that thing? And it's like 2 hours away on the train.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to be in New York for shows like a couple days before, so I'm just going from New York. So it's closer.
You should pick up a set. You
I know.
might
I
as
was
well.
gonna say, and I'm just like, I'm gonna just do this dumb fun thing, and that's it. Like that's what it was. It's just kind of like this.
Yeah, it's a fun weekend of something literally vacation-y.
And it's also just it's fascinating. I mean, it's just like sort of these the crossword puzzle aficionados that are in like their crossword puzzle shirts, you know what I mean?
Oh, right, because there's merch and there's...
Oh, yeah. But yeah, they just sort of make their own crafty little things. And
Yeah.
it is a big deal. Just whole families of like crossword puzzle,
They're crossword puzzle families?
yeah, and I'm not going to call anybody a nerd, but...
No.
But
you can call them a dork and they will celebrate it.
Yeah, but it is a very sort of, it is a certain gathering of a certain type of people, and it's just fun to be around.
I love when I go to a convention, Andy and I will do this thing where we're just out in the world and we'll see somebody, or in an audience, I'll see somebody and I'm like, oh, those are my people.
Yeah.
And you recognize the people that are into the things that you're into. And I don't know why I resonate with them. I'm
and
like,
you can see
look at
like
that guy.
you'll make one weird side reference about something dumb that
They'll
is not
perk
even
up.
fun. And yeah, and it's like not even a real punchline, and then you'd be like, and that person will like laugh, like it's just like, oh, they get it. Okay, that's they're
they're one of my people.
It's really fun. It's fun to be into things. As you know, you're
Yes.
you should have a podcast about it. But it is fun to just sort of have these sort of alternate interests that aren't sort of focused around whatever it is you're doing, comedy, music, whatever.
Yes, for sure. And it I think is important to. I'm writing a note. So
Yeah.
sorry.
That's okay.
But
Are you my friend? Check yes or check yes, Jackie. I'm your friend. Jesus Christ.
I know. Get it together. So there isn't any way to train to do these things
Yes.
except for to do them.
No.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, I didn't used to be able to do these puzzles. That was my whole thing. Is that I was this like, oh, these people. That's what's my whole politics rant. These people think that they think that they're smarter. I'm not these people. Like I was just like, oh, like why am I like looking at these people that like they can do so much and I can't do it? Maybe I can do it. And I just started. And when I was young, I had a great aunt. My grandmother died before I was born on my dad's side. So my great aunt was kind of like my grandmother. She lived in New York City in this big building, and she was very fancy. And she did the New York Times crossword puzzle. And I remember visiting her when I was like 10 or 11, and she was doing one of the puzzles. Okay, and she said, "I'll give you $20 if you can answer any of them." And I remember not just being so intimidated, not even being able to attempt it. And that is a satisfaction I have now, where not only did I figure out how to, and I've been doing them now for like
Do you ever give
10
yourself
years.
$20?
I should. That would be a lot. Then
You're
I would be giving myself a
Aunt
lot
Betty?
of money. Yeah, I'll just transfer
Why
between
I
accounts.
oughta?
Yeah.
Why I oughta?
You're close, is Brenda.
Is it Brenda?
Yeah.
Your great aunt Brenda.
Yes.
And
But yeah.
so wait. So how did you?
Just start doing them.
Okay, so there's not really a way to train except for to do.
Just start doing them. And
Very Yoda. Very Yoda.
And you can use, and honestly, like I do when I do old ones, when I know that they're not, because I go back, because I like to just go back and I like to have, like I've been trying to do the rest of 2018 that I, because I'll go in spurts where I'll do every single day.
Yep.
And then I'll do it for like 4 months and I'll be like, oh, I can't, because it's like a job. Like I'm doing it like every night and I'll stop. And then now I'm going back and doing some of the ones I missed. Granted, I was very sick in the beginning of last year.
Right.
So I didn't do it.
Exactly.
But
But it is I play Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we refer to it as our Marvel Puzzle Quest chores.
Yeah,
I have to do my Marvel chores.
You've got to get it taken care of.
Yeah. There's something you got to knock out immediately.
Yeah.
Which is the daily Deadpool. You got to fight the Deadpool fights. They change every day. You get different trinkets for getting whatever badges and hoorays and covers.
I should get Tenny into this.
Oh, the Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Yeah, she's the.
It's a match 3, so it's a pretty simple game.
Yeah.
But it's super fun.
I bet she'd like. Cause she's really into. She's kind of.
There's a Ranger of the Dork Forest Alliance that she could join with Andy.
Yep. I'm gonna put it on her iPad and see what she thinks. So she's now like she loves Star Wars, but now I think she's moving more into Marvel.
Okay.
Did you see that picture I posted of her in her Miles Morales Spider-Man costume?
Yes, I did.
It's insane. My friend Maya got it for her and for her son. And they're just these high quality, skin tight, black Miles Morales Spider-Man suits. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see
I love
a
that you're
picture
saying
of it.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah.
Larry Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Did you get to see Into the Spider-Verse?
I loved it. And one of the creators of it, Rodney Rothman, is an Austin guy. And
That you know from the day?
I know from the day, yeah.
Oh, that's kind of exciting.
Uh-huh.
Did you get to see Spider-Man Homecoming? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, because Martha Kelly's in it.
Oh, right, because Martha Kelly's in it. Right.
Yeah.
Martha Kelly did an episode of The Dork Forest, loves SVU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Law and Order SVU, the creepiest of all the Law and Orders.
Oh, can I tell you something? And I just talked to Martha today. That's not what I'm going to tell you, but love Martha Kelly. She's part of the old crew.
The old crew.
The old ladies, these old broads. But anyhow, Martha, but no, the SVU, I have never, Law and Order and SVU, maybe I've watched an episode of each ever in my
I've seen
life.
parts of several hundred episodes, but I don't like it.
Oh, good.
So,
not good, but so many
you-
people are so into it. And I just,
Right, Andy loves it.
Yeah.
It's his go-to when it's like a sort of hotel, because they're usually playing on
Yeah.
some channel.
Yeah.
Or they were 2 years ago. They might be out of rotation at this
Yeah,
point. But
there's so many.
There's so many of them. But
there's one, I think it was SVU. There's one of them where I was like, I know that I've seen a couple full episodes and the cast is very good.
well, they seem to be very well done in a sort of a light drama kind of
Yeah.
TV thing. But
There's just too many things.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, they're not for me. But that doesn't mean that you can't love them with your whole heart.
yeah,
and
and-
that's what people do.
Yeah,
So
but-
it just doesn't have to be us. It's I loved Homecoming
Yeah.
because of Michael Keaton's portrayal of Vulture, which was fancier than he's ever been in a comic book. The Vulture character was always lame.
Okay.
He was the lamest of all supervillains. And Michael Keaton made him smart, made him interesting, and kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's kind of great.
It was very good. And
Yeah.
I haven't, and you know that like I'm, as of the last like 7-8 years, I'm into comic books now.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever read any Spider-Man arcs.
Oh, there's some really great, the Superior Spider-Man where...
You can send me some of your favorites because I have read reboots of a lot of different Marvel things and which I love. It's not like the main thing I'm into. Like I'm.
and if you like Spider-Verse, the Spider-Verse, it's too big, but the 2099 arc was great, where the Spider-Man who comes from 2099.
Okay. Can you text me those?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Well, I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite writers are writing those Spider-Man, so they're very good.
Oh, it's so yeah. I mean,
I've only been reading Spider-Man again for probably 3 or 4 years. So.
Yeah, I like, and most of them, like I said, like I just read the Hawkeye for the
Hawkeye?
Fraction.
The Hawk guy, where he has the dude. Hey, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, bro.
It's really funny.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah.
And, hey, dude, bro.
Yeah. And the girls in it,
And then
they were
Kate
they're both
Bishop is
Hawkeye.
the new
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's really funny.
Yeah, that's a great one. And then it looks like Mark Waid's Doctor Strange is pretty amazing right now too.
I haven't read any of that, but you know who I'm super into?
What do you do?
Which is an overlap what you just said is Jeff Lemire. He's my absolute favorite, and he follows me on Twitter. But I have
very glamorous.
and he retweets me, and I have everything he's written, And
What are your favorite things? Because I know I've read him, but he's a name that I always, like when you see a name and you're like, oh, I'll try that.
Yeah.
And he's one of them, but he's not top five.
Sweet Tooth is one of the first comics I ever read. That series, my friend Robert Reeves and Patton Oswalt, actually, they were the two that got me into reading comics.
Is that independent? Sweet Tooth?
It is. I want to say it's Vertigo.
Okay.
Something. But what Jeff Lemire has done is he's done a lot of short run sort of series, like graphic novels, and then also just one-off books. And so, but the one great thing that you would love, which is kind of this tangent, is the Black Hammer. That's his new thing, and there's lots of offshoots of Black Hammer, and it's like Sherlock, Frankenstein, and something. It's all this whole Black Hammer universe. It is.
Oh, I think I've read some of that.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever.
It's noir-y, but it's also horror.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we've read some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it all stems off of this Black Hammer series, and then what he's done is there's just like, I always buy the trades.
Okay.
And so there's like 4 different trades from 4 different like overlapping parts of this universe. It's really, really good.
That's great.
But everything he's a very dark writer. And a lot of his stuff is like, it's like in the middle of nowhere. It's cold. Hockey is a lot of a theme. Like it is.
Is he Canadian?
I don't know where he's from, but he's Midwestern or Canadian, or that's what he's attached
He's got
to.
that vibe where there's a lot of winter happening.
But Sweet Tooth I haven't reread Sweet Tooth, but it was so good. But anything by Jeff Lemire. And he just wrote something that I actually have with me that I haven't read, or he didn't just write it. But now
you just got it.
But now I'm reading things that he was like an author on, and it is it's Green Arrow, I think.
Okay.
Or something like he wrote, like he was the writer on.
Right.
On a,
yeah, my DC knowledge is relatively shallow.
Yeah.
And but that's neat.
Yeah, but I'll just read anything he wrote. But I like the other stuff.
I have several comic book artists or authors that I'll do that.
And he is an artist and an author. Like he doesn't always do both, but he has done. Oh, and
both.
Descender. Jeff Lemire's Descender. Have you read Descender? And now
with Tim 22?
Yes, that's him. But he's not the artist. He's the writer, and then he's just starting Ascender. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, Descender's amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. I can't wait till. Have you started reading Ascender? Because I know that they just.
No.
Okay.
I know that they just finished Descender, and the thing about Descender was, if people get it's just really, really good science fiction.
It's so good. It's sad. It's exciting.
Beautiful.
And
it's funny. It's smart. It's genuinely got everything going for it.
It's really good from the beginning. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, I think that because he's always been on my radar, but when you said so that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's sort of like because you're probably reading Saga.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
and Paper Girls. I mean, I love Brian K. Vaughan. I
Yeah.
have most everything he's written as well. And Why the Last Man was also that, and Sweet Tooth and Watchmen.
Were the starter ones?
The starter ones for me, yeah.
And so, I think Andy handed me Top 10, Alan Moore, which is essentially Hill Street Blues.
Okay.
But on a superhero world where everyone has superpowers. And so it's about the police department on a world where everyone has superpowers. And some of them are lame.
I feel like can you I want you to
Top
put
10?
that in the text that you're sending me. And I feel like I either have read that because my friend Robert,
it's older.
I have read, there's stuff I buy and there's stuff he like puts on a share that I read.
Okay.
And a lot of that stuff has been like these sort of comic arcs and stuff. And he puts way too much stuff for me to even begin to get to. But some of them, like the Invincibles, like, I mean, there's some superhero, like sort of like, they're not Marvel or they're not DC. They're just these made up, like Black Hammers like that.
Yeah.
Where it's just so exciting.
Right. And the Invincibles I read probably for 5 or 6 years. He read it for about 3 or 4 years before that. It kind of it got muddy and I stopped reading it. But but there was so much and almost I'll read anything by Ed Brubaker.
I haven't read any. I don't think I've read Ed Brubaker.
Ed Brubaker wrote some
Ed Brubaker?
Brubaker, Spider-Man, and Ed Brubaker has written a lot of. He did the first live ever episode of the Dork Forest, but it was sort of a definitive Captain America run. He did a lot of. He's done all the big names, but then he does a fair amount of noir. Really cool. There's superhero like Criminal, I think. wait, what was the one where it was about the supervillain witness protection program? And that one was amazing.
Well, that's kind of also, that is a little bit like, that's not like, but that reminds me of how the arc of how Black Hammer is set up. It's like they're like trapped on this other, dimension, or not dimension, but it's universe, and they have to conceal their identities. And for some of them, they can't do it as easily as the others.
Right. Comic books are, if we're going to go down this comic book path, that's amazing. Are you doing, do you have sort of a Marvel or a DC pull list?
Well, if I read anything, it's Marvel, and I can't say that I have read. My friend Robert has sort of like read this, and a lot of that was Marvel stuff, and it was sort of different Avengers runs and X-Men runs too.
Yep.
They were just done by whatever the sort of like this guy wrote it, and I'm sure you even know what I'm talking, like the ones that were really popular, and I was just totally brought in by them and loved them. So I'm more partial, yes, I have a big Batman one that I know is supposed to be good that I've had. I think Robert gave it to me like 10
like The Killing Joke or something like that.
Something like that I haven't read, but definitely more Marvel. But I definitely also skew more towards the Brian K. Vaughan. I even read, I've read all of Walking Dead. I read all of Fable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Willingham, he was on a live episode too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Bill Willingham.
Yeah, I've read all of those.
And it was one of the first times it was after Brubaker, I interviewed him, and I didn't know, it was at a convention, and I confused some of the people at the convention. It was in Minneapolis. It was called Convergence. And it's a beautifully much smaller one, and it's kind of a party con.
Oh, fun.
There was stand-up at it, and Dan Schlissel, who does stand-up records, he had a stand-up room off of the pool where everybody would have like these different themed rooms, and you could get free booze.
Okay.
And he had, it was free beer and some knockoff Jägermeister. Okay. And stand-up comedy. Oh. And it was essentially, it was like a Sheraton or a Radisson or something like that. And everybody had just covered the entire rooms in plastic and then had done their themes. So people get trashed.
Yeah.
It was, I went 2 years in a row, I think, and it was super fun, but it was intensely alcoholic.
Yeah, and this was Dan, right? It was after you were sober. Right?
Yeah. After I stopped drinking. Yeah. So it was hard for me to be around so much free Jägermeister.
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be a terrible idea. And if I start drinking again. And
exactly. Here. Yeah.
Right. But the Bill Willingham interview was funny because I had read all of Fables, and he actually wrote, before Fables, he wrote a porny version. It was a sword and sorcery porn arc called Ironwood or something like that. and I think 80's got them. But the interesting thing is, I wanted to ask him about that, but I kind of got spaced in the middle of it all. And I ended up talking to him because he was in Vietnam. And he wanted to talk about being in a tank battalion in Vietnam. And which, of course, doesn't make any sense.
That was his jungles. Yeah.
Well, it was. I think he expected me to ask him a lot about Fables because it was in front of a live convention.
Yeah.
It was more like it looked like a panel.
Yeah.
But it was a dork forest.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a panel. It was just me going, "What do you like to do?" And
everyone's like, ask him about his comics, not about tanks.
Right. And so he kind of likes to read. He likes to read about the history of the war that he was in.
Was he fun to talk to?
He was fascinating, actually.
He was? Okay.
Yeah, it was. He was a little intense, but who isn't? I'm a little intense.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
And he created a crazy world.
Did you read Jack of Fables?
Yes, I read the offshoots, and actually, Alex bought me.
Did you thought of it, Jack Offables?
No, I didn't.
Jack Offables. Yeah. Come on.
But and I haven't read it yet because I'm so behind on books. But he actually wrote a novel based on, I can't remember what it's called, like Max. I don't know. But anyhow, and I have that, and I haven't read it yet. Based in the Fables world.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So if you look him up, and you'll see that novel.
That's great. I have at least 13 books that I need to read immediately.
Oh, I have
hundreds.
It's stupid.
Yeah, and it's fine. We could add that one to it.
Yeah.
And so why not? It's but yeah, there's a lot of really good sort of indie stuff right now. Like Paper Girls is really interesting.
I love it. And it's fun. I can't remember I was talking to my friend Robert again. We were talking about, and he said that he read the first trade or whatever and just wasn't into it. I'm like, what?
How could you? I was in immediately. How about Man-Eaters?
Oh, I haven't read that.
It's just the first trade just came out. It's Chelsea Kane, and it's about it's literally this dystopian present about their women, once they start menstruating, there's a very small percentage of them who turn into Black Panthers and kill people.
I love it.
It literally
is. It good?
It is hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome.
And dark and angry and funny.
Oh, that's great.
And so good. And so the first trade just came out, I think, this week.
Oh, wow. Okay. Put that on my text.
Sure. Your text chain, the Chelsea Kane.
Uh-huh.
And Chelsea Kane, she did an episode of The Dork Forest. Essentially, our dorkdom is me talking about other episodes of The Dork Forest.
Yeah, exactly.
It was about D&D.
I hope that you should try, maybe we should find out where Jeff Lemire lives, and then you should have him on, do a live
I should
one.
like to do all of, a lot of them live here.
Oh, Brian K. Vaughan, man, that would be amazing.
I had Mark Waid on.
You tell me.
He was amazing. He did Superman. And it turns out Superman is his dorkdom. He went and saw the movie in 1977 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he walked out of it at the age of 12 going, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's going to involve Superman.
Yeah.
And
he did.
And he did. And he was fascinating. It's a great episode. But there's much like books, there's a million people who need to immediately be on the Dork Forest.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's nice that there's an endless...
Yeah,
you don't even know. You can meet someone, never even think you want them on there, and then you find out that they like something weird.
Right. There was a great bird watching kid.
Interesting, not weird, but
it was. Well, I was at the Ice House, and I met some young man, and he told me he was really into bird watching.
That's fascinating.
And he's about 20.
Oh.
And I was like, he emailed me to ask me about it. I put it in a folder. God knows where that folder is, but we'll have him on.
Yeah.
Squeaky wheel. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
listen to that, everybody.
Yeah.
He needs to hit you up again to remind you.
That's it, Jackie at JackieCation.com.
Uh-huh.
Let the scheduling nightmare begin. We've been trying to schedule this for probably a decade.
Yeah, that's mostly our fault, both of ours. We're both never in town at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, it's been... And we're not lazy, but we know that we're going to be here for whenever it happens. So
it's true.
It sort of offers a kind of laziness.
Yes. And... but I'm so glad it got done. What do we want to, we have another 10 minutes.
Wait, maybe we should schedule so you can do a Dork Forest with Tenny. Wouldn't that be funny?
Oh, right. I did one 15-minute episode with the Baraf boys about Pokemon, I think it was. Or, no, Magic the Gathering. Could have been anything, actually. Yeah. It was just, they were the only children who have ever... And then I did a cosplay one with Scott Rogers' daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you could. She's actually extremely into comic books. She used to read graphic novels before she could read, and now she can. And she draws, too, but her favorite one is Adventure Time. I mean, she has just goes through and reads them. And,
that's comic. That's cartoon, right?
Yeah, and she is also very into sort of graphic novelty type stuff.
Do you read any web comics?
The only no, not really. But my friend, have you had Ben Acker on for anything? Mm-hmm. Yes, we had dinner last night and saw him. And speaking of which, he's the guy who says Spider-Man, and I just kind of go off of him sometimes. But he does a funny web comic called Kid Midnight.
Kid Midnight.
Yeah, that he writes, and he has, I think that he just switched artists, but it's really good. And I actually binged now I'm just waiting for a little while before I can binge from where I read last. But yeah, he's great, Ben Acker.
The only one, Andy reads at least a half a dozen of them every day.
This is true. I can't, I don't even.
And some of the art is so beautiful, and the writing is really great. He does some existential philosophy. One that he reads, pretty common. The only one I read, so again, sword and sorcery dick jokes. It's called Oglaf, OGLAF.com, and it is genuinely. Sometimes, it's often filthy.
Yeah.
It's often not filthy. It's always funny. and it's always beautifully drawn.
Oh, that's nice.
So like
the saga is a good. You're just the saga is beautifully drawn, and sometimes extremely filthy.
right, but Ogloff literally it's done by a couple, a heterosexual couple in, to my knowledge, in Australia.
Yeah.
And
they could be
whoever
anywhere
is
on the
drawing,
spectrum. We don't know.
we don't know. And but to my knowledge, but whoever is doing the art loves to draw dick and balls with the power of the sun. They love and fellatio and also, but that's not true. Also likes to draw some vulva, some vagina.
Oh, there we go for everybody.
All the parts and boobies.
Oh.
Lot of nips. And then the puns are ridiculous. And one of my favorite one is the dwarves who find the fountain of doubt, and they're like, they say if you drink from this, that you won't be sure. And then they drink from it, and they're like, I don't think this is the fountain of doubt. And it was literally that was
Yeah.
It's sometimes the jokes are that dumb, and sometimes the jokes are so smart they're ridiculous.
And it's just right there. It's
every
perfect for
Sunday.
you. Yeah.
Every Sunday. And it's got the good sword and sorcery, so it's always good.
I don't know sword and sorcery.
It just means sort of like Lord of the Rings-y kind of.
Oh, got it. So it's kind of like what you call that sort of type of
that sort of like
genre.
Yeah, I call Conan that, like Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
There's a new Conan title that's out that looked pretty good.
Okay.
But,
I think I've heard tell of that.
Yeah, but I used to read it in the early 2000s, but we stopped for some reason. I think it got a little repetitive. It turns out Conan the Barbarian might have gotten a little repetitive.
That's always a sad thing when you finally have to come. I stopped reading Preacher.
Oh yeah,
because I was just, and I was catching up to Preacher, but like I was like I'd like bought like 2 of the books, and then I was just like, oh, I don't want to read this anymore. I don't.
Walking Dead had that problem with me. I read and 100 Bullets.
Yeah, and Walking Dead, but I still have not let go, and I'm actually have that with me too because I'm like 3 trades behind.
Well, I bet you with Walking Dead, because I think I read the first 3 trades, and I was like, still with the zombies, and then
it's better than the TV show though.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay, I never. We don't have cable, so Michelle Biloon.
Yeah.
We have been talking.
Yes,
and it has been a delight.
A delight.
Crossword puzzles. You just say dive in.
Yeah.
Dive in on a Monday.
Dive in, download the app. I mean, it's a subscription-based app, so maybe not, but you can...
Is there in-game purchasing? Is there anything...
I don't know.
Is it free?
I pay for the annual subscription for the crossword puzzles.
Oh, right, because... that's it.
For the app. But if you just have a New York Times, you can just do it straight from there. But I think that there is a free element to it. I think maybe what I'm paying for is like... the archive and them saving my stats and stuff or something, because I can do like 20
the game
years
part
back.
of it.
But I think that you can access it for free also, and you can certainly do it in the desktop app. But yeah, start with a Monday and just, I mean, this sounds so stupid, but just sort of don't think that you can't do it and just do it, because it's like, it's one of those things that maybe you won't ever be great at it, but you might be better than you think. And it's just sort of, and don't give up. I never look up anything ever. If I really can't get it, and if it doesn't really, I'm just like, I'm not going to waste more time. I will just let the crossword answer it for me, and then I'll kind of say, okay, now that one's done, and I'll go from there.
Okay.
But then it's not included in your stats if you do that. FYI.
And you will know pretty quickly if you like to do it.
Yeah, but I would say it's just like comedy, and everyone says like I want to do stand up, I'm going to stand up, and then they say it for 10 years. It's like, go do an open mic. Yeah, that's like do an open mic for 2 years, and then talk to me about wanting to do comedy. Right? But see if same thing. See if
you really want to do it.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it for a few months, and just sort of. I think once you sort of like say like, oh, I can do a Monday. Yeah, I can do a Tuesday. And when you get your first Saturday. Yeah. Then you're like, because Sunday is just big. It's not that much harder, but
it's just a project.
When you get a Saturday done, sometimes I look at Saturdays, I'm like, there's no way I'm ever going to finish this. And then I do it, I'm like, I feel so good about myself. I'm a smart person.
Michelle Biloon has been on the Dork Forest, you guys, and you could find her at Biloon, Biloon, on all your favorite types of things on the internet.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter and Instagram.
All those things. This will come out probably, I think, at the middle of March. Anything they should they just look for you in Philly?
No, I don't really go up that much locally anymore, and I might, if I have a show, it's probably not even on my calendar.
So just follow you on Twitter to find out.
You can follow me on Twitter. I'll be in New York a little bit. I'll be back here at the end of April in LA. I'll be in LA from end of April, beginning of May.
All right,
doing shows.
Thank you so much for doing the show.
I am so happy to have had this time to hang out with you, Jackie.
And Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?